Hi everyone, and welcome to the iSpring webinar series, where we talk about e-learning trends, iSpring tips and tricks, and we also cover clients' cases. My name is Julia Stels, and I'm a customer success manager at iSpring. I'll be a moderator for today's session, where we are going to cover a very interesting topic and have the very special presenter, Daryl Anderson. Hi, Daryl. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thanks, Julia. Hello to everyone out there.
Awesome. Yeah, we are also excited. Thank you. Daryl is a founder and a managing director of Envo Media, and today he will share his insights on how to integrate e-learning and training videos to produce better learning outcomes. We are trying to run this session for the second time due to some tech issues. We are sorry for that, but I believe you guys agree. Practice makes perfect. So we are happy to see you again. I have some good news for those who is not able to sit up through the whole session. This webinar is being recorded, and you'll receive a link to the recording sometime later. However, I do encourage you to stay with us till the very end, as you will be able to ask questions at the side panel of the demo panel, and we'll cover them all at the end of the session. Please be active and answer your questions. And also at the end of the session, you will see a kind of a survey. Please fill it out. We're happy to see your feedback. And at this point, let me pass the mic over to Daryl.
Thank you very much. I'll try and, can I share my screen now? Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me see if I can do that. I only have one screen, so let me try to share that. Now, can you see PowerPoint there? Oopsie. That's not what I wanted. Slideshow, that's what I want from the beginning. How does that look?
Looks awesome.
Yeah, so you can see that okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's great. All right, for everyone who was here last week, I'm very sorry for the technical issue. I think it was my fault, but we shall have another go and see how we go this time. As Julia said, my name is Daryl Anderson. I'm Managing Director of Anvil Media. We're essentially a video production company. We create videos, not just training videos, but promotional videos and television commercials and that sort of thing as well. But we also do a lot of training videos. We work a lot in the agriculture sector, making videos for farmers and about farmers, about our research and development in the agriculture sector and lots of different things. We do a lot of training videos for not just the agriculture sector, and we also make podcasts. And we've been in business since 2000, so almost 23 years now. I should just check, you can still hear me okay? I hope. Yes?
I can, yeah. I see a question, but I guess that's perfect. Yeah, thank you.
So our e-learning journey sort of is a bit strange. We didn't start out to do e-learning at all. We used to have, we would get calls from inquiries from our customers to say, look, we're holding a seminar and we want someone to record that seminar and put it on a DVD. And I used to look around for a way to synchronize the slideshow with the video presenter in an HTML type. I didn't realize I was thinking about HTML, but in a synchronized kind of way, so that we could still preserve the slideshow, and we didn't have to send two cameras along to shoot the screen or to do it as a video edit. Anyway, so we discovered a few products that did that. One of which was called, I think, Presenter, and it was made by Microsoft. Microsoft stopped making that. It was a very good product, but Microsoft wasn't that interested in it. We also used a thing called Knowledge Vision, which was a very expensive product for that purpose. They charged us a lot of money to host our presentations every year. And eventually they just charged us far too much, and we said, right, we're finished with you. And I found iSpring. At the same time, we started doing conferences in that mode. So we would film the presenters up on the stage, and we would synchronize their slideshows with the presenter video. And so you're only using a small amount of bandwidth for your presenter video, because the real work is the slideshow, which doesn't have a lot of bandwidth at all. So it's a much better online platform. But of course, we were making training videos at the same time, and it occurred to me that many of our clients wanted us to make training videos, but some of the content that we would make for training really didn't require a video. So it would be, so I had two thoughts. I had one thought was, what if we could mix training videos with, you know, more conventional slideshow type material, when the content really doesn't require the expense of video production. If I'm telling you the 3 points to remember, you don't need a video to tell you the 3 points to remember, unless they really need to be demonstrated. And the other thing was that I discovered, by this time we were using iSpring, we discovered that because iSpring has assessment capabilities and it has SCORM protocol compatibility, we were able to integrate assessments with the training video content that we would create. And so we would have a conversation with our client that said, well, you need a training video, but how do you make sure that the person that has watched the training video has understood it? How do you document their learning? And so that began our journey into the e-learning, technically, but retaining our real sort of strength in video production. So we invented, and I'm sure we're not the first people to use this term, the term video e-learning. And video e-learning for us, and I'm sure other people have used and invented this term at the same time as us, but it really means either e-learning with, you can come at it from, these are two ways of looking at the same thing. E-learning that has a majority video content, so it's might have a presenter or a narrator synced to slideshow content. And so video content replaces e-learning in that context. Or the other way to look at it is that you've got that you're making training videos, but you're putting them into an e-learning module, and you're integrating assessments and maybe adding interactive content, although not necessarily the case, and perhaps using, you know, mixed media, so slideshow content as well as video instruction. And so it really sort of came down to, okay, over the years we've made video e-learning in a number of different ways. The first of which is that where we just use a video narrator, and of course you'll recognize this handsome man here, who is narrating essentially a slideshow about, in this case, I think, electrical work, safety around working for construction workers working with electrical work. And if I try and, maybe I won't do that because it might muck things up if I click on one of those links. But so that's just a narrator synchronized to traditional slideshow content. And we call that video e-learning because you've got a video narrator. The second way that we use video e-learning, as I said before, is to create videos that our client gets us to create anyway, and then to embed them into an e-learning platform. And so in this context, video e-learning is a much shorter thing. You know, we've got one video, in the one on the right, we've got one video. The first slide is just an intro slide. Then there's a video slide. So the entire slide is taken up with a video. And the third slide is just the assessment. And it's a really neat way to deliver video content for clients who have a learning management system which uses the SCORM protocol. And so we set up the quiz and we configure it as a SCORM e-learning module, and they direct their learners through their LMS login to the training. They do the training, they do the assessment, and then of course their login shows that they've A, completed it, and B, they've passed the training. I'll just check that you can hear me still. Can you hear me?
We do, yes.
Good.
Everything. Yeah,
I'm just a bit paranoid after last week. It
of
dropped out
course.
at about this time. In this case here, and I might be so bold shortly to show you some of these examples. In this case here, most of the content, this one has 34, I think, slides, or 29 slides. Probably 2/3 of those slides contain video and are just video content. But another 1/3 of the 30 slides are a more conventional, just PowerPoint slideshow content. And so on the slide on the right, the voiceover, there is a voice that narrates through this, says before operating a BMU, you know, you must have done this, and then but then when you get to an individual slide, none of that content on the right really needs a video, but the content on the left is very demonstrative. It's a very instructional. It demonstrates all of the processes, and then so at the way we handle assessments and reporting is done in two ways. It can be, the assessments can be just at the end, so you watch the video or you watch the training and you do the assessment, or it can be distributed through longer training modules. So if you've got a long training module that might be 25 slides, we would typically have maybe 3 or 4 assessments during that training module. And because it's linked, because it uses the SCORM protocol, it's tallying up, or it's tracking their completion of those assessments and their pass-fail on those assessments, and it sends to, it is synced to their login, and so when they've completed the training, it shows that they've done it. SCORM versus email, some of our clients do not have a learning management system, or at least they don't have one with a SCORM with the SCORM capability. And what we do there, and this is all available in iSpring, is that we configure the training so that when the user gets to the end of the training, it sends them an email, as well as sending to the manager, the training manager, maybe at a special email address, results@anvilmedia.com.au or something like that, or results@clientname.com.au. It sends an email to them to say, you know, Trevor or Gloria Simpson has completed the training and is now accredited in this thing. And so there's someone in admin populating a spreadsheet to show that the workers have completed the training. We also make sure that we limit the navigation through the training so that a person cannot jump forward and skip through slides without watching them. And secondly, so that they cannot skip to the end of a slide, to skip to the next slide without watching all of the slide that they're on. So if there's narration, and there's always narration, and that narration goes 1 minute and 18 seconds, they cannot skip forward until they've listened to the entire 1 minute and 18 seconds. We also limit it so that they cannot, so that it doesn't auto advance. So if they're sitting there watching it and they get to the end of a slide, the end of the narration for a slide, it doesn't move on to the next slide until they hit next. And the reason for that, of course, is that you don't want them going into a room like this, setting it to go, and then walking out and going to the pub, and then coming back to do the assessment and just guessing their way through the assessment. We want our learners to watch everything, so that when it's documented that they have watched everything, we know that they have watched everything. We use the iSpring platform. After having used a couple of other platforms, there's probably about 4 platforms that we've used in total, including Adobe Captivate, which I find a bit tricky, Articulate, which is very powerful and is a very good platform, but it's too complicated for me to use myself, whereas iSpring is just easier for me to use, and iSpring is very capable, but Articulate, I find that that I, as someone who's not really an expert in e-learning as such, I can't create stuff easily in Articulate, but in iSpring I can create the basic stuff that I need to create quite easily. So we create our process is we create the slideshow, we build the animations, we've recorded the narration, so we then bring the narration in and we sync that to the slideshow and the animations within the slideshows. We create the assessments. You adjust the slide controls, we export it and we upload it. Now we have an Amazon server. Some of our clients don't have an Amazon server. They don't have a learning management system. So they say, well, where are we going to host this? And we say, well, look, we're not going to promise that it's going to work all of the time, but we'll put it on our Amazon server and send you a link, and your users can access it on our Amazon server. It costs us about $5 per month for all of the presentations that we've got on our Amazon server. Tips and tricks. I've already talked you through that. Video controls, auto advance, don't allow them to auto advance and use Amazon. Now I might actually, I'll stop sharing this. Will I? Yes, I'll stop sharing this and I'll show you a few things. If you want to have a look at our demo, let me see if you can hear me okay?
I can, but I see that some of our attendees have issues, but others don't. Maybe something specific to person's computer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All good. All good.
So what I should do, I think, is to show you some examples, and that will require me to share, I think, to share this window here. I'll share the, you'll be able to see yourself for a moment. I'll just share the whole screen, actually. Okay, so you should be able to see that there. Now, I'll show you this one first of all. Okay, so this is our oops. This is our work for a company that has a lot of building maintenance units. So they're the units that sit on top of tall skyscrapers, and they drop the cage down the side to clean the windows and to do maintenance of facades. And this chap is obviously their national facade care manager. He's the operations manager essentially. And so I'll play it on silent there. He gives us our introduction to the piece, and then That's just slide 1. Slide 2, we have to. So I've got it locked so that we have to view the whole slide. And so he's just giving us an introduction to the slide, to the show, to the training. And now we go on to our next training, our next video. And so this slide is entirely video content. One of the tips that you need to do is that within PowerPoint, you can see my mouse is rolling over the video there. If I do that in a normal PowerPoint, video controls will show up at the bottom here, and I'll be able to stop and start the video. Now, we don't want a user to be able to do that, because if they stop the video there, then this timer down the bottom will continue to go on. And we really want that timer down the bottom to be the one that completely controls everything on this thing. So we've put an almost transparent layer over the top of the video, so that when the mouse rolls over the video element itself is not touched by the mouse, and so the video controls do not appear. And so down here is where I can control it. So I can hit pause and it will pause, I can hit play and it will play, and that's all controlled by that item down there. Now I've watched this now, so it should allow me to advance to the next one. The next item in this one is just an interactive, and so each item, there's a voiceover behind each of these items, allowing your users to explore the BMU, and they have to look at each one of these 11 or 12 items in order to be able to move through to the next thing. Let me see if I can click them all, and it'll enable us to go forward. 7, and go over here. I think there might be a couple over there that I've not clicked. 5 and 11. Let's see if I've clicked them all. Yep. Now this one here, there's a voice going in the background there, and it's really just I've synchronized this so that these bullet points are synchronized to the voice narration that is playing in the background. So you can see that this one itself is a very mixed media presentation. As further we get through it, video is really predominantly the content delivery mode that we have. I'll play a couple more slides and we'll get to the first assessment. So this video, of course, is, this goes for about 48 seconds. But in this case, I've got the video in the background, but I've also got the bullet points over the top. Now those bullet points are actually in PowerPoint. The video is there in the back of the PowerPoint slideshow. So I've actually got video in slideshow synchronized to slideshow content over the top as animation. Now, while we're waiting for that one to play, when you navigate away from it, it stops playing. So I can't really rush it forward at this point, but in 4 seconds, I'll be able to show you an assessment. And here's our first assessment. This one's very simple. I've just done multiple choice. In this case, all of the above, I assume, is the answer. Blood alcohol level might be that. I can't recall, and I wasn't listening. It's okay to operate, and that's so it's true, false. But in other training, I've got far more interesting assessments. This is training that we've made for an exhibition centre. The voiceover at this point is giving us a short introduction, just telling you that you've got to watch the video, and then after you watch the video, you have to do the quiz. And after that little introduction, it says, "Are you ready to go? Well, let's get started." And then it plays the video. And in this case, the video is really telling us about how to respond to an armed intruder at the venue. The Gold Coast Convention Centre, of course, is the biggest convention venue on the Gold Coast, and we've done quite a lot of training videos for them. This was probably the first one we did. And so in this case, we're really just using eLearning, the eLearning module, the eLearning technology, as a way to get, as a way to deliver video training integrated with an assessment. And so if we jump forward, I'm not sure if we're going to be allowed to. No, we have to view the whole thing. That's probably enough from me, except to say that if I go over here and you want to have a look at a demo, I'll leave that up so that you can see it, and I'll take questions. But that QR code will show you, that'll get you to a page where you can fill in a form, and I'll send you a link to our demo, which shows you all of the features that are possible with video e-learning. And I'm hoping you can hear me, and I'm happy to take questions.
Daryl, we can hear you. So, guys, if you have any questions to Daryl, please ask, and our expert will help you with the answers. Maybe provide some ideas. He can provide some ideas to you. Any questions, guys? Yeah, the courses, they do look really great, exciting. Like they say, video is the best way how users understand and I guess master the information. Thank you, Daryl. No questions? I guess you were a great presenter as you covered everything and explained everything so everyone knows how to do that.
Okay.
So that's awesome. All right, but we were happy to see you with us today, Daryl. Thank you for joining our webinar at iSpring. And if you have any further questions, guys, you can direct them to our support team, support@iSpring.com, and our experts will also help you. We'll be happy to see you at our next webinars.